Hi, Si.
Hi Pete.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm a dad of three, two girls and a boy, married to Liz, and we both work in education.
Fantastic. So you had a bit of an interesting situation appear a while ago. Just tell us what happened.
Yeah, so just over 2.5 years ago, I was made redundant. I've been a senior lecturer in sports education and coaching at the University of Gloucestershire for about 15 years, and higher education in general was going through a pretty tricky period of time. Our department had to make some pretty huge cuts. And slightly against the run of play, to use some sporting analogies, I ended up being one of the people who lost their job in that process.
Wow. How did that make you feel?
Devastated. There was a competitive process basically for us to interview for our own jobs. And that year I'd been awarded the highest award you could possibly get in the university for teaching excellence. So I'd been given a university teaching fellowship in June and I was made redundant in September. So I had a proper fall from grace. Massive dent of pride.
Wow.
Initial thoughts were, how on earth am I going to look after my family? What's the impact going to be on Liz, on the kids?
So it sounds like it was a complete utter shock then.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we were all, the department was scared because we knew everyone had the capacity to be going.
Yeah.
But I don't think you don't see that as your reality. You don't think it's going to happen to you, and then the day that it did, I was in bits, absolutely devastated.
It's understandable. What kind of impact did that have on your family and your life?
Loads. So it was interesting. I had some chats with a really good mate of mine who actually said, you're almost going through a grieving process. You've been in this relationship, this work relationship for like 15 years. And now that's being taken away from you, and everything that's structured your life is being taken away from you. And actually, it did feel like I was grieving for something. And also, it made me really question my self-worth, which challenges who you are as a dad then, and who you are as a husband. For weeks and weeks and weeks, I really didn't sleep, and for lots of different reasons, playing the interview process through my head at 2:00 in the morning. What could I have done differently? I don't think anything would have changed what would have happened, but really unsettling period just for all of us. And obviously the kids see that and read that, and they start to feel like things aren't secure like they felt before, and that. So it was a really tough few months.
As a Christian, how did that affect your faith?
Yeah, I mean, as a Christian, our faith's great when everything's going well.
Yeah.
It's really easy to be a Christian when everything's going well. It's really easy to praise God and to say, Jesus is real and He's for me, and all these amazing things we say as Christians. When the rubber hits the road with a circumstance like this, one of the biggest challenges I find is to be a Christian in that, and to reflect on myself and talk to myself about what I would say to somebody going through that circumstance. So, that challenge of actually, where is your faith in this? You've said you're a Christian for years and years and years. Why do you feel like you have so little faith at this time? So that was really challenging again, just to get the right kind of people around me to just encourage me that God was in it, and that this wasn't an accident, but was something that could be turned around for good.
How was the situation redeemed then?
So this is the bit that I just love, and this is why this is such a good story. So God works in incredible ways, and that's what this story proves. And lots of people will say, but what happened in my story was just luck, or just because I'm a good person or something like that. I fundamentally believe everything that happened in this story was because God had designed it to happen. So in my role as a senior lecturer, I started doing some voluntary consultancy work with Cheltenham Ladies College. So I just I was going in just to helping them to design their curriculum, to reflect on their curriculum, to look at some of the different ways that they could do PE and sport.
What made you start to do that?
Well, so they got a hold of us. It was a contact that I'd had through the university, but then passed on a contact of somebody at CLC.
Right.
They got in contact with me and said, would you be interested in just coming and talking to us about some stuff? So I went in, got to know some of those guys really well, and then the week that I was made redundant, I just got a random email off the director of sport at CLC saying, do you know any hockey coaches lying around that might need some part-time work in January? So I'd been made redundant in like the September, October time.
Yeah.
My redundancy was due to start in January, and Andy messaged me saying, do you know anyone who might be able to offer some hours? So yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's timing.
So I messaged back saying, I might know someone who's lying around and got a few hours. It happens to be me.
Yeah.
He didn't know anything about the circumstances that had gone on at work, which made it even more brilliant. I then went and started doing some part-time stuff with those guys. Absolutely loved it. I loved the department, and then started to do a little bit more on the kind of hockey design of the programs and things. And then this is where it all kind of steamrolls into just this amazing testimony of what I believe is God's goodness. So the current head of hockey there decided to go for another position elsewhere for the first time in 19 years.
Wow.
So for the first time in 20 years, the position of head of hockey came up at CLC. Just so happened that 3 months before that position came up, I got a position coaching hockey as the external professional coach. So for me, there was something amazing about the timing of all of that. So by June of that year, I'd been appointed as full-time head of hockey at CLC, which was just incredible. So the bit of the story I haven't said, but is worth mentioning as well, is that while I was doing the part-time coaching, that wasn't enough for me to be able to kind of live on.
Yeah.
But again, I'd chosen to volunteer as vice chair of governors at the primary school that my kids went to, and at the point where I was made redundant, the primary school put out to advert for a year 1 teaching assistant. So I popped in and saw a head teacher and said, look, I'm available. Weirdly though, I'm only available 9 till 12 because I've got this hockey stuff that's going to be happening from kind of 1 till 6ish.
What's the chances
and
of that
she said,
fitting in? Yeah.
she said, funnily enough, the job is 9 till 12.
Wow.
Every day. So even those 2 part-time jobs completely dovetailed to work with each other. And actually the thing I'd say about the teaching assistant one, I think that was God doing something in the depths of my heart as well, because actually I'd gone from being absolute top of the tree at the university as a senior lecturer to suddenly being a year 1 teaching assistant, not even in control of the classroom. I was just basically turning up every morning being told what to do and working with some amazing and wonderful little kids who didn't know that I was meant to be really clever or fantastic at anything. They just wanted me to spend some time with them and try and help them be more awesome themselves.
Brilliant.
And that really helped me to then use this circumstance to go, right, okay God, what are you teaching me through this? Bringing it back to like the faith side of things.
Yeah.
What was this experience about? And actually what God really spoke to me about in that was I'd lost my direction in my previous role and had started to think that actually what was really important was about people thinking that I was important, and thinking that I was amazing at stuff, and building this profile about being an expert at something, and God really just reset things and said, no, your role is about other people, and it's about making other people excellent and serving what they do. And that teaching assistant job was just the most amazing experience of doing that, and just doing it at the bottom of the tree and just amongst the things that needed to be done.
Simon, fantastic. Thank you so much for
That's
sharing.
all right.